Colin, well, thank you ever so much for joining us and sharing your experience, your project with our customers. They find it particularly useful. What I'll do is I'll ask you to cast your mind back when the extension was just a figment of your imagination and what you were trying to achieve with it.
Well, the original project was some time ago now, was to create a room with lots of light, lots of sunshine, and that's worked extremely well for, I suppose, 10 or 11 months in the year, but in hot weather turned out to be more heat than was comfortable. So we were looking for a solution in particular for the a very sun-exposed roof glazing section, which is quite big, and you can see behind me there.
Well, great. So the primary considered issue was the heat. Was it more so than the glare?
It was the heat, is the heat on those days in the year which are pretty hot, not most, but some, and when it's hot, then yes, the room pretty quickly heads north of 30 degrees and higher. So therefore, that was the key driver. In fact, it turns out that having installed it, it does, one of the family uses this room as their workspace, and it certainly does make it easier working on screens when the light is bright significantly. So that's again. And I'm anticipating that probably it will also make the room a little warmer in winter, because we got a lot of glass here, which is quite black, although it's insulated, and I think screening off that section is probably going to make it that much warmer, at least to look, I think, in fact, as well in the winter.
I'm confident it will, Colin. And what option did you look at when you decided to deal with this heat, reducing the heat gain?
Yeah, I think when you look at the roof section, not necessarily the vertical windows, but when you look at the roof section, there aren't too many options. The real option was internal or external, and the external installation was the simplest and most straightforward.
Yes, and did you look at any other companies besides WindowTreat?
We did, not in huge detail in this case, but we did look at some other offers, and I was counting on the recommendation of the builder we use for a reference on the quality. So that was a key decision point for me.
Well, thank you. And how did the process work? You met Chris, presumably on a video conference, and he was taking you through.
We met Chris on a video conference. We had a number of email exchanges and some technical data. Being an engineer, I was interested in some of that, and so that was pretty straightforward.
And how did you find that?
Well, I think the video conference was a useful way of making progress rapidly onto what the options are and are not. It allows you to narrow the conversation pretty quickly without the complication of a home visit. So that was practical, and in the event, you know, it covered what we needed to cover, so it worked.
Yeah, great. And then you met our installation team, who would have come around to do a survey and then do the install. How was that part of the experience?
Fine. I think in particular I was a little concerned about how the electrical installation was going to work, but it was fine, really invisible and straightforward connection. And it took, I can't remember, 3 or 4 hours to install the unit, and so very straightforward.
And the heat gain is the primary issue. You mentioned glare. Has it solved the issue for you for this month a year when you have the problem?
Well, as you know, it's this year the hot weather came slightly later, so we haven't had very many days, but on the days definitely for the glare, it's significantly better, and clearly for the heat gain as well. It is the surface which is most directly into the sun, so it is, I think, the most effective way of reducing the solar gain in this room, and I'm confident it's working.
And the million-dollar question, Colin, is: would you recommend WindowTreat to friends and family?
Yes, I would. The interaction was easy. The product is working and effective, and the process was entirely straightforward. So I would.
Oh, thank you. That's music to my ears.
There you go.
Thank you very much, Colin, and thank you for sharing your project. I know our customers will be delighted to hear about it.
You're welcome. Thank you.